It's obvious that there is no shortage of sustainability challenges around the world. Let's take a look at ArcGIS Platform and how we can leverage the technology to build applications for the future. ArcGIS Platform is a location platform as a service. It's also a new developer experience for developers. At the core of the platform are powerful location services that provide vector and image basemap layers, geocoding and routing capabilities, data hosting and content storage, and there are also additional services for performing specialized location operations, such as demographic and spatial analysis. You can access these services with a variety of APIs. This includes ArcGIS Web and Native APIs, open source APIs, or you can use any API or technology to access the services directly through the REST API. There's also a rich set of tools and resources that you can use with the platform to help prepare and manage data for your applications. For example, you can use data management tools to import, edit, and publish your data as services, 2D and 3D map authoring tools to build and prepare maps for your applications. And for those interested in no-code, low-code solutions, there are a number of app builders and templates that you can use to build applications quickly. So the ArcGIS Platform location services, coupled with APIs and tools, provide a powerful way to build intelligent applications quickly. Let's take a closer look at some of the things you can do with ArcGIS Platform.
Esri, the leader in location intelligence, is offering a totally new way to build apps for developers around the globe. Now, our world-class location services are open to you like never before with ArcGIS Platform. You'll get the widest range of the best geospatial data available. With ready-to-use maps you can customize for any need, like routing and directions, or geocoding and search. And high-powered visualization tools with spatial analytics that let you reveal patterns and relationships using any API you want. You'll also get lots of exceptional APIs for maps to help you build groundbreaking apps fast. With ArcGIS Platform, Esri location services and maps are yours to build apps with, giving you the power to map a better future.
Okay, so let's take a look at how to get started. So first of all, you want to go to developers.arcgis.com, sign up for a free account, get an API key, and then start building applications. Let's take a look. So here I'm at developers.arcgis.com, and this is the main resource center for APIs, tools, and location services. So we can find all the documentation and links to the tooling that we need to get started. In order to access the site, you need to sign up for a free developer account, and then once you do so, you can log into your dashboard. So your dashboard basically gives you all the tools and the access to the things that you need to start building apps. For example, you can access your API keys. So here I can go and create a new API key. There's a default one that's created with your account, and it can be scoped to different services as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this key into memory, and I'm going to use it just a little bit. Next over is OAuth 2. So if I want to set up an OAuth 2 application and create a client ID and secret, I can do so here, and I can plug those into my application to access the services. This is an important section under layers. If I want, I can import data to the ArcGIS platform, and it will host it as services. So we can import a number of different file types and create feature services in the cloud, essentially. And then you can easily access those with your application. If you want to create data from scratch, you can do so. You can create point, line, and polygon hosted feature layers. And then you can also specify like the fields and the data that you want in those. So it's basically starting from scratch, creating a schema. Or you can create a base map layer style for your mapping application to create a custom style. So there's a vector tile style editor to do so. You can also download any of the APIs from your dashboard in this section if you want to build your applications locally. Okay, so that's just an overview of the dashboard and how to get started. But I want to take you over to the documentation. One of the main guides to use is the Mapping API and Services Guide. So here you can learn more about how to get started. You can look at tutorials that are written to access the platform and all the different services. And you can also look at the different APIs that are available as well. So what I want to do is to start with a use case here where, let's say I'm interested in a basemap layer. So I can go to the basemap layer, I can search for basemap layer and go to a basemap layer page. And then from there, I'll find some code, and I'll find like a live example as well. And you notice that there's a code snippet here, but there's also a code switcher. So you can change the code switcher to different languages, such as Esri Leaflet, or maybe I want to build a Mapbox JLJS application. So I have a few options. I can just copy this code and paste it into an existing application, or I can go over to the tutorial or the Mapbox JLJS guide, and I can look at the full application in this CodePen example. So all of the demonstrations in the guides have this view in CodePen option. So what I can do is view this code live, and then I've already copied my API key earlier, so I can paste that in. And once I paste that in, I can run the application. And if I want to make some adjustments to the application, like the zoom and the center point, I can do so. So it's really that easy to get started. And as I dig into the services and the service documentation a little bit more, I can start to change some of the parameters, such as the basemap enum. So I can pull in any of the different basemap layers provided by ArcGIS Platform through the basemap layer service. So that's just one example of how to get started on how to access the basemap layer service. And you can go down to services if you want to learn more about the parameters that you can pass in. You might also be interested in 3D maps. So we call those scenes. So you can create scenes quite easily using the JavaScript API or any of the native APIs as well. So this could be a use case for you for the application you're building for the hackathon. Under data hosting, I encourage you to check out this section, which explains how to store, manage, and access your data in ArcGIS Platform. That way we can host the data for you, and you can access the attributes of it very easily, and then you can style it very easily as well. So here's just a quick example of a hosted feature layer and making a query to get all of the fields and the values out of it. So you can return the values as HTML, JSON, or GeoJSON to any application. So again, if you need data hosting, look at the data hosting chapter to get some more information. At some point in your application, you will need to provide some level of visualization if you're going to provide a mapping application. So what data-driven visualization is all about is providing symbology that really describe your data, and it helps define and identify trends in your data and information. So take a look at the visualization chapter to do so. And keep in mind there's also 2D and 3D visualization techniques that are possible. So there's different symbology that you'll use for each, but this is just a couple examples of how you can symbolize features to really understand your data. If you're interested in Geocode and search, then the search chapter has all the information that you'll need on how to access the service. So for example, I can access an address or a place around the world, and I can search for restaurants or gas stations or different hotels, and a number of other things as well. So there's a full geocoding service and a chapter and a section here to help get you started. Under routing, if you decide to build a sustainability application around transportation, then I encourage you to look at the routing service. There's a lot of powerful features in here. For example, this is the fleet routing example that's looking at multiple trucks going to multiple destinations based on the time of day and the traffic and any accidents that are in the area. So this is dynamically calculated on the fly to provide optimal routing. Another interesting component of the routing service is service areas. So this is basically isochrones. So it's a certain distance that you can travel on a network, in this case a street network, within a certain time. So here's an example of walk time. You can change like the parameters from walk time to drive time. So if you're doing any kind of search or you want to search for an area based on time variables, then take a look at service areas. Another important service, especially with this hackathon, I believe is the Geoenrichment service. This gives you the ability to discover global facts for places all around the world. And there are literally thousands and thousands of variables that you can choose from and extract from the database and then use for your analysis and the applications that you build. So I encourage you to look at the Geoenrichment service to be able to extract that information and then just learn more about the demographics and facts of an area. If you want to build offline applications, check out the offline chapter, and managing content, you can check out the content management chapter. I also want to point out the tools. There are a lot of tools that you can use to work with ArcGIS Platform. As you saw, the developer dashboard is a tool that allows you to get API keys and set up your layers. ArcGIS Online is also a more rich content management tool that you can use to search for data that's in ArcGIS Platform, as well manage and create like 2D maps and 3D maps and so forth, with tools like the map viewer and the scene viewer. So these are authoring tools, so you can author maps quite quickly and easily, and then pull those maps into an application for consumption. And there are a number of tutorials that illustrate how to do this. And then there's a vector tile style editor that I mentioned earlier that you can use to style base maps. So this is just an overview of the documentation on developers@arcgis.com to help you get started. Okay, so I want to finish off with a little bit of inspiration, look at some data and some tools that you can use, and a few different sites that you can go to get started. So I'm just going to jump over to Esri.com. And there's a product and technology that we have called StoryMaps. And these are really interesting if you're looking for a no-code, low-code solution to put together essentially a presentation of information and infographics. So we actually have a number of sustainability story maps already built that have been built over quite some time now. And they provide essentially a story for different situations and for different topics. One of my favorite story maps is the Human Reach story map. So this is what it looks like after it's compiled. So how you build these is through like a WYSIWYG driven wizard, and you would plug in the title and the information you want, and also any infographics. So this is just showing population increase over time. And we can scroll down and get even more rich infographics such as maps. So this is showing human population density around the world. So there's a map also, or there's many maps for urbanization. If we want to look at the Earth at night, we can look at the consumption of resources, of energy at night. Looking at different networks, transportation networks, and fiber optic networks around the world. And then my favorite map is the one with the human footprint. This is basically the conglomeration of our impact on the entire world. So this is a story map, and essentially what's interesting about this is that the components for this are stored in ArcGIS Platform. So for example, if I go to ArcGIS Online, which is arcgis.com, and I search for human footprint, I can find the layer for the story map that was created. And I can see it's a tile layer, and I can see the author and other information here. And then down here, I can grab the URL if I want, and I can use the map viewer to access this layer, and I can explore the layer further. If I wanted to, I could bring in other layers and perform analysis, or just create a map out of this. Same thing with the scene viewer. The scene viewer can access that same layer hosted in ArcGIS Platform, and I can create a 3D scene view if I want and store that in the platform. Alternatively, if I have the layer ID, which you can see right down here, I can plug that into a custom application. And here I've chosen to change the background, the basemap layer to the imagery basemap layer. And again, this is just a custom solution that's outside some of the other authoring tools. And if I want, I can also view this in 3D just by changing to the scene view and reloading that. And it's the same layer accessed in a custom application. This is using the ArcGIS JavaScript API. So I wanted to show you like some different technology to give you some ideas, but I want to show you the StoryMaps because I think that's an important technology to understand and that you might be able to leverage throughout the hackathon, or you can just use the data hosting capabilities of the platform and build applications, as you can see here, from scratch, and it's really quite easy. Okay, so that's all I have to say. So I think it's time to get started. So I'll leave you with the task of going to developers.arcgis.com to sign up. And we're going to have a number of videos and live tech talks coming up this week to explain the different technologies and so forth that I went over very quickly. So without further ado, over to Amy. Thank you.
Great. So once you've signed in, we would like to give each of you a $100 voucher for even more cloud credit to give you plenty of room to build out your solution ideas. Just click your name and then click Redeem Voucher from the drop-down. That menu item brings you to this page where you can redeem that voucher code to have $100 added to your own account. You can always sign up first and then add the voucher code later. When you sign up for the hackathon, you'll be given the code. Please let us know in the Slack group if you have any questions about this. More info on that here in just a bit. To help you get started more quickly, we've written up a cheat sheet designed specifically for hackathon teams. It provides quick shortcuts for signing up and shows you what ArcGIS can do. Here we have a set of 4 quick tutorials for importing data and also creating and styling your maps. If you're a coder, we've listed 3 quick tutorials that are a great place to start. The first is called Create a Starter App, which is sort of our hello world for web developers, but also tutorials for working with basemaps and for using a basic location service, in this case, geocoding or finding addresses. The next page of the cheat sheet includes some links for data scientists, how to find map content for your apps that can be added to your data, as well as some tutorials for creating customized mapping apps without code using app builders, dashboards, and StoryMaps. We're also on Github, and our global user community contributes to over 500 open source projects. Be sure to check those out. You may find some useful. Here is the front page of the hackathon. This is the site we're driving it from. Go to this URL, sign in, or log into DevPost, then click the Join Hackathon button. We encourage you to bookmark this page. On this site, you'll find announcements, rules, prizes, resources, and information for how to sign up with a team or as a team. Here's the super important part. Once you sign up for this hackathon page, you will receive a confirmation email that contains a link to joining our company Slack site and the $100 voucher code for cloud credit. If you don't receive this email, please make sure to reach out to us on developeroutreach@esri.com. As I just mentioned, we have created an interactive community on Slack for all of us to communicate and to collaborate with one another. We have channels for getting help and talking with Esri staff as well as the hackathon organizers. This will be the primary way for us to make announcements and to give you the latest info. You can also create a channel for your team and, of course, direct message individuals or groups. So let's get hacking. We're kicking off the hackathon on August 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Head on over to DevPost and make sure you or a member of your team have signed up. You can even join a team later if you like. All projects are due by September 13th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Our judges will review all projects between September 13th and September 15th, and we'll be selecting the top 3 by 4 p.m. on the 15th. They will go through a final round of judging on September 22nd and select a first place winner by 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. The first, second, and third place winners will be announced on September 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We're incredibly excited to have you join us and look forward to seeing how you were inspired to help contribute to a sustainable future.